Alright, well, my name is Levi. I grew up in like a generally like happy family. There were some like ups and downs within my parents' relationships. And then I like around like start of high school, I realized that I'm trans, so I've been dealing with that. Um, and then also throughout middle school and high school, I dealt with a lot of anxiety and depression. And right now, I'm working on getting diagnosed with autism as well. So, a little bit of everything kind of going on, I guess. Lots of just like little things. Um, I have a boyfriend who lives in Australia, and I live in America, so quite the long distance. But I hope to get to visit him soon. We've been dating for over a year. Uh, he's one who like got me into trying VR chat out. Um, and yeah, I don't know. I'm not like that much of an interesting person, I guess. I'm I'm in school right now, and I also work part time. Um, the semester just started, so it's been pretty stressful. Um, but like I have people that I talk to, like Sugar, for example. Sugar is one of my really good friends. Um, and then I have like other friends that I go to, as well as my boyfriend. My boyfriend and Sugar are like my two biggest support systems, honestly. Yeah. Um, so I'm male to female. I'm more kind of like non-binary, masculine leaning. So I kind of like am in between like not really feeling a gender, also like feeling more masculine. Um, I experimented with labels in like 8th grade and ninth grade, such as like gender fluid. That was one I stuck around with for a while. Um, but then eventually, especially after like not being with this like really toxic ex of mine, I came to terms with just being like kind of like chill about gender and just being like, oh, like I'm kind of like more mask leaning on the spectrum. And lately, I've been also considering getting hormone replacement therapy. So I would start taking injections of testosterone. Um, so that was kind of a spur of the moment appointment I made, but I think it might be the right choice for me. And all the people there was a point when I started working that I felt kind of pressured to get testosterone because I had all these coworkers that I'd come out to, and they all were like, "Oh, like when are you gonna transition? When are you gonna transition?" And I was like, "Oh, this makes me feel like I have to." And like before, I'd only been really considering it, you know. And so then after I was like, "Never mind, like I don't want to do this," I kind of shut the idea down completely. But then there was a time, I don't know, there were just like a couple things recently that made me change my mind. Like after you're getting that out of my mind, like the people feeling like they were pressuring me after getting that out of my mind, um, I started to focus more on what exactly I wanted, and I did more research and I looked into just like different like injections, like dosages and how they affect you. And I realized that it is something I want because I've always wanted a deeper voice, and like at work especially, I get misgendered a lot, and it's really frustrating. Um, But then there's times where people like will be like, oh, like when you walked in, it sounded like you were a guy, and I was like, oh man, that made me feel so good. But then there's other times where it's like, ugh, man, my voice does not sound very deep. So I definitely want my voice to like deepen. And then this one's a little silly, but like it was these two things occurred at the same time. My voice was really my voice was really hoarse, and at the same time I saw this art of this like character I really like and identify with, who was and they were drawn as trans and they had bottom growth, and like those two things just like hitting me at the same time were like, damn, like I kind of want to get I kind of want that to happen to me. That was a lot of extra information. I'm sorry. My parents were chill. Thankfully. I can't even remember like what I said when I came out, to be honest. Um, I remember like I started experimenting in high school with different names, and I'd asked only one of my teachers to call me by a different name, and I like let my parents know, and I was like, hey, like by the way, if you ever talk to this teacher or get an email from him, like he's gonna call me Levi. And they're like, okay. And then I guess that's when I explained. Um, and they've been supportive ever since, which is really, really good. Like, not a lot of people get that kind of luck. Um, and they use my pronouns and they use my name. Um, it took a little while. They slipped up a bit at first. Um, but they got the hang of it. I use I use they them pronouns, and I'm also okay with he him. Oh, that's so frustrating. That's so frustrating because it's like kids normally go, or at least for a while they go with what society tells them, you know, and like how they're raised. Um So like, you know, like people are throwing like gender reveal parties with like the like pink cake for girls and pink balloon or blue cake for boys, and it's like, what purpose does this serve? Um and it's like it's the same thing with like with sexuality. Like people will be like, "Oh, we can't expose our kids to like gay couples in the media because then it'll influence them." I don't know how that's any different than them seeing straight couples. But I don't know, it's just like heteronormativity as well as like, I don't know what you would call it, cisnormity? Like being like most of the world assumes that everybody is cis, which is like identifying as the gender that you're born as. Um, Everybody assumes that, and
I see you
that just
across
makes
the water.
it like uncomfortable and unsuiting, I guess, for everybody else who doesn't fit into that little box. And then they try to act like if you don't fit into that box, then there's something wrong with you. And it's just really frustrating. And we're taught that from a very young age that we have to like certain things to identify because we identify as one way. You can't you can't say that kids don't know what their gender is from a young age if because like you're the one who is trying to push one onto them, you know? Like how do you know that they're a girl? How do you know that they're a boy? I don't know if that made any sense. Yeah, I'll talk a little. So right now it's more of like a self-diagnosis, which I know some people are kind of iffy about. Um, my boyfriend is autistic, and I remember one day we were just like chatting, and he was like, "Hey Levi, like, have you ever noticed like you have a lot of neurodivergent traits?" And I was like, "Yeah, I just never really thought anything of it." And so then we started talking more about it, and I started doing more research. And neurodiversity can apply to autism and ADHD. So I looked into both, but I didn't really, like, nothing about me really applied to ADHD as much. So I looked more into autism, and everything kind of checked out. Everything kind of made sense. Um, so I think that, like, that does make a lot of sense, you know, and like I I don't really care about getting a test, like getting an actual diagnosis, except for curiosity and also like proving to people, I guess, in a way, because there are some people who like doubt that. Like my parents, for example, I told them and they were like, I don't know. Um, so I mean, it's possible the test will say that I'm not autistic, but I just kind of hope it does say that I am, because then I can find comfort in it, in like having a diagnosis and feeling like all the quirks that I have a reason behind them, instead of me just being like, I don't know, just having weird quirks. Nothing I can really think of. Yeah, I'm still attending therapy. I used to look at therapy as a way to like find help, I guess. Like I expected my therapist to give me answers and tell me how to help myself. But then I realized like that's not necessarily their job. And that like she's always trying to make me like find the answer myself. And when I realized that, like I kind of had a better appreciation for therapy. Like it's making me learn to be a better like person, I guess, like better at like helping myself as well. Like that's very important. I guess just like patience is important. Like I feel like people just like overthink, or like people are too impatient. But patience really is important, and like taking the time to really think about yourself and do the research that is needed to help yourself and become better, for yourself and for others as well. Um, and also communication skills as well are always important. That's one of my like main things. I think communicating with people is really important, whether it's about just like issues in a relationship or how you're feeling about your sexuality, about your gender, about your mental state. Just being able to talk to someone and sort it out with them, or just have them listen. Being able to open up, find someone that you can trust and open up to, is always important. Yeah.